This program is brought to you by Young's Welding. For truck accessories, gateways, and all your welding needs, be sure to call Young's Welding at 936-544-7432. And the Moosehead Cafe, open Monday through Saturday for breakfast and lunch, and Friday nights for the fried catfish special dinner. Call 936-544-5278.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I think you did it right.
Absolutely. Well, I just covered everything.
As we come to this meeting, I just want to let y'all know this is my first time running the meeting, so if I kind of stumble and, mess up a little bit, just look over it. Okay. All righty, call to order forum. We got the public hearing.
Okay, Ms. Hanson is here. We have a public hearing. Obviously, this is the time when we go over the final budget. We talk about our final tax rate, and at that time, the board will have the opportunity to, or once we adjourn this meeting and move to our regular agenda, then the board will have the opportunity to approve and both the tax rates and the budget. And remember, we have the budget listed first, and then the tax rate to support that budget. I know there's a few things. Remember the last hearing that we had when we talked about this. We talked about the board, my request, being able to use some of our fund balance money in order to be able to balance this budget in order to give the raises that we want to give in the district. And that number, I believe, that I gave you the last time before Ms. Hanson starts was about 421. Well, she and I went back to the budget. We looked through some things. There was one contracted service salary that we didn't have in there. And so by the time we got through adjusting and fixing the budget, that number became 430, a little over 430,000 instead of 421. So I want y'all to know that the number that you're going to see tonight will be 430,000 when I told you in our pre-hearing for our budget and everything the last time it's going to be about 421. So not a major change, but I don't like to change numbers on you guys without telling you why. So Ms. Hanson, if you'll go ahead, she has some highlights of this particular budget for you, and you have a budget book. And if you would open that budget book up, and as we'll go through here, that's it. As we go through here, she'll have a few highlights for you to go over.
Yeah, in the very front, like the second page, you'll see where we're proposing our tax rate for our M&O to be $1.04 and our INS at 21 cents, which is making our tax rate stay at $1.25. That's what we're proposing. Over in the next tab is your template. The template that y'all saw last week, go 3 pages over. It's not changed. It's still the same amount. We didn't tweak any of this or change any of this, even though after the meeting that they had there in Austin stuff, we've not added any of that. Yeah, it's on the 3rd page.
That'll be the 4th page.
The 4th page, I'm sorry. Go 3 pages over the 4th page. And you'll see line 47 at $6,496,057, and then right underneath it is your available from the state, line 48 of $251,140. That you will see over in the budget. I will point that out. We stayed the same. Behind that is your certified value rolls. That's where they certified it. I think Mr. Myers would like to go over this with y'all to show you the last 2 years the prior years before this. On the certified value rolls right behind that template, Mr. Myers.
Yeah, the numbers that I was wanting to show you guys last time somehow or another escaped me, because remember I was telling you at our budget hearing that we had a large jump in valuation And it's the 4 pages behind the template there. If you'll take a look, you'll start seeing certification of appraisal roll for Crockett ISD. If you'll take a look at these, the first one is the most current. At 407, you can, I'll look at the M&O side. Does everybody see that one? It says 407, 407,133,000. Then if you drop back to July of 2016, you'll see 413,690,700. What I was wanting to show you is the next page for 2015. Take a look, 371,650,000. Then go back to 2016, and you see the 413 million. There is the big jump that's affecting us tier 2 wise in this district and costing us the $700,000+ in valuation. Remember, in a district, as your valuation goes up, your appraised value in your district, your taxable amount, then your tier 2 dollars, if you're a poor school district, go down. And those tier 2 dollars are generated above what your normal tax rate brings in the state of Texas. Tier 2 dollars earn more per penny than just a regular cent of tax rate in the district. The poorer you are, the more tier 2 pennies you have. And so when you get a big, like this was, from 371 to 413, a $40 million jump, a little over $40 million jump, then basically you lose those tier 2 pennies off of your valuation or your ability to tax. And so you lose greater amounts of money than you would if you just lost the $40 million in the straight tax roll. And so that's why it hit us so hard for $700,000 this year, is because the pennies we lost were more valuable than just what a normal penny would raise here in our district. If we're at 400, looks like 407 million this year, then a penny of taxes in our district, or a penny on our tax rate, raises about $40,000 to $41,000. In fact, to be exact, $40,733 in the district is what a penny on our tax rate would raise if it's just a regular tax rate penny. With the tier 2 pennies, however, it raises whatever Austin ISD raises per pupil with a penny of tax rate. And so that winds up being somewhere around, I believe, $6,000, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in that neighborhood for each penny of tax that we have in there. So you can see there's quite a difference, around $60,000. There's quite a difference in how much valuation you get per penny if you're Austin ISD and Crockett ISD. And tier 2 was designed on the Austin ISD's tax rate to be an equalizer in the state of Texas for poorer school districts. If you make more money than what Austin ISD's got, you're considered a wealthy school district. If you make less money, you're considered a poor school district, because Austin ISD's tax rate is the gauge in the water for that particular distinction. And that's the difference between Chapter 41 and Chapter 42 school districts. We are a Chapter 42 school district. We don't earn more than what Austin ISD earns, or what that particular cap is per student wealth. And those districts that earn more than that become Chapter 41 districts, and actually have to send money back to the state in many cases. We're not in that rate. So just wanted to tell you why that $40 million jump in valuation hit us so hard at $700,000.
So are we losing money?
Yes, we're losing money on our
From the
foundation.
state? From the state?
Right.
Okay.
Losing money from the state, that's correct.
But Mr. Myers, if that is the case for 15 to 16, from 16 to 17, when our valuation goes down,
Then we will gain it back.
we will gain a partial part of it back
Gain
next
partial of our tier 2 pennies back, because we're dropping
That'll
the
be for
valuation.
next year's
Right.
monies.
But you're always 2 years behind.
Right.
You're always 2 years behind on your valuations. It takes you 2 years to catch up. So we will, next year, is my understanding, at least our best estimates, according to Mr. Zolman, who helps us out with these predictions, our best estimates that we'll get about 165,000 of that $700,000 we lost back, and the same amount the next year. And so we should get about half of our money back in 2 years that we lost this year, total. So you never gain it all back if your valuations continue to climb. remember, there's only two ways that districts get more money. Number one, the foundation program increases, per student allotment from the state increases, or you gain students. Fortunately, this year, we gained about 40 students. If we hadn't gained a bunch of students, we'd have been hit for over $1 million this year because of our jump in valuation. So fortunately, we are growing, and hopefully we will continue to do so. Go ahead.
Okay.
Ms. Hans. Is there any questions before I jump off that subject? Okay, go ahead.
Your next tab is your salary schedules, which, I'm not gonna go over those. Those have been tweaked and changed, but what's on those salary schedules is what's in this budget. So, just flip over to the budget.
Do you want to go, well, if you have questions, I'll go back to that in a minute. Go ahead.
And first page, 1 of 53 on your budget. Now, this is just gonna go over some little details. You're gonna see the fund balance of what Mr. Myers mentioned to you, the 430,013. You're gonna see that.
That's the number, remember, that we were talking about. If I had to write a check today, I wouldn't want anybody upset with me, because that's the amount that I'm telling you, worst case scenario, we'd have to write to balance this budget. Now, remember, I don't feel like we're gonna have to write a check. I don't feel like that this number is gonna be insurmountable for us to overcome this year. But if we didn't, if things went south for us in a hurry, this would be the maximum amount that we'd be on the hook for out of our fund balance, okay? All right?
If you look at the second line, the tax current year levy, I've changed that from the last time y'all saw that. Right underneath that, you'll see the 100,000. Between those two is 45, 100,000, and then 4,000,000 and 4,400,000 plus the 100,000 is 4,500,000 is what we're looking at currently collecting in taxes. I bumped up a little bit on the penalties and interest. When you look at your last one that I showed y'all last week, we've just raised that up to about 7,000, but we're still under what we actually really collect. So that's still gonna help with the extra fund balance. And then, the housing authority, I went up with it just a little bit, 5,000, where you can see last year under column where it says 2016-17, this original budget, you'll see 20,000. I just went up 5 on that. And then on down where you see available school fund, you see the 25140. That is on your template of line 48. And the 6,496,057, that is on your template of line 47. Those figures stayed the same, but we did not change those. We stayed within the template.
So the action in Austin did not change those numbers for us?
It will. It is going to change when we get a new template. We will be the beneficiaries of another $100,000 or so. It's not a huge amount of money, but it will be subtracted out of this number up here at the top.
Will not be a smaller number though. We will not be receiving less.
No, we will receive
We will
more.
That's what I'm
receive
saying,
more.
yes.
So we will actually receive more. So this number at the top that we're liable for, if that indeed comes through and the state funds everything they said they're going to fund, then it will soften this 430 by whatever amount we receive.
We have a few items that we've not put in the revenue that
We may get.
we may.
You know how I feel about
We're
putting something
hoping,
there.
so that we just don't put that in there.
Based on your month of the year.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Exactly. Now, everything through there is your payroll and all that, so I want you to just flip on over to page 12 of 53. I'm gonna point out some little things that are different, because what I've done by what Mr. Myers' request, we just copied whatever the original budget was last year and moved it over for this year, and then we tweaked that. And so I'm gonna point out the things that we tweaked that is a little different from original budget. So if you're on page 12 of 53, and you'll see the 40,000, that's where Mr. Myers added.
Fourth line down.
Yes,
Wow.
I should have it highlighted, hopefully,
Yes.
yes. That is the, I always mess up on the
The
initials,
IR.
the IR.
Remember, we have an IR campus with our elementary school this year, and it looks like our Piney Woods is also gonna wind up IR unless I can do something about that with a phone call. So we will have some expenditures in there for resources. You'll recall, there were PSPs in the past. Now with Region 6, it's going to be SIPs, those individuals who come in and try to help you with your plans and everything that we've done in the
That's
past.
state mandated.
Right, it is state mandated. So we don't have any choice in there, but the elementary school is pretty much covered, okay, because we have the T-TIPS grant, and the state has already said that our plan there will suffice So we'll only have the one campus, the Piney Woods campus that, and I may wind up spending some money out of there for the resources that Region 6 has to help us even with the elementary school. And so, I mean, we can buy over there for $9,000 or $10,000 what it would cost us $40,000 somewhere else to actually get to help us with those instructional concerns on each of those campuses. So that's what that dollar amount is doing in there. So we'll have some money to pull from if we need it.
And then over on the next page, 13 of 53, that midway, you see the 50,000 that is highlighted. That is what we wrote in with the daycare to help pay the employees that they'll hire for extra with our children that our parents' children are going.
And remember, that's a little bit higher than what we committed to, y'all recall. I think we committed to 45,000. That's just to make sure that we, if there's any incidentals that come out or something that we've overlooked, we've got a little bit extra to cover.
Do you have an early indication of how many will be available for such a service?
I don't right now. I really don't. I don't know. How many today?
I think it's 12.
There's 12 employees that are all
12
already
employees
taking care of that. And I suspect there'll be a couple more. There's just a couple of them that have special arrangement. That lady back there in the back that just told me how many were taken care of. She has a special arrangement already. A family member taking care of children, so she can't avail herself of it right now. So bottom line is, you fix to throw something at it? The bottom line is that yes, we will have a large number of employees that are going to benefit from that, and that's money well spent from the district. And
That's
Ms.
what
McCall-
you're comfortable with.
Yes, and then Ms. McCall Rice was here today and thanked the district and the board and the superintendent, as well as, extended the services of Treehouse Academy to everyone here. So I think that went over pretty well. Josh was there today, and he saw all the goings on. That was a pretty little neat thing today when we had Trent Ashby, and he showed up today for our convocation, and the mayor was here, and county judge was here, and the county attorney was here, and so it was a pretty good turnout of our local folks, being represented in our community, our teacher community got to see them and know who they are. So I thought that was really good. Hey, I've gone all the way now through Latexo to get to Grapeland or something. I don't know what I've done here. You go right ahead.
No, you're good. And then right below that, you'll see 13,000 is vocational ag. We went up on some of their supplies and their travel. We have to stay in compliance with the special programs because TEA, over on the template where we were showing you the line 47 and 45, there's right above it, it tells you how much percentage that you are to spend, that you have to go, you have to do no less than that. So I made sure all our special programs are within the compliance of TEA, and with doing that, that has put the vocational ag that we had to up some areas. So I'm pointing those out to you as well, so you'll see what has went up. Over on page 15 or 53, again, you see there for the travel for vocational. And then below that, down where the 25,000, that is our high school allotment. We had budgeted last year 12,000, but we actually spent 22. So on the college fees, so I had bumped that up to 25. That keeps us still in compliance because it's part of a special program as well. So I kept that in compliance with that as well.
That also gives Ms. Rebels and now Mr. Emmerich some latitude in how much money we spend for kiddos on college tuition and fees for dual credit and extended programs, articulated agreements that we have in instruction.
Is there a certain performance level they have to achieve from the high level before they offer this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They have, we have some prerequisites, you're okay, we have some prerequisites that Ms. Rebels will require over there before they can get into the programs. And then
And they
what happens
also-
if they don't pass it?
And they also, if they don't pass it, then they're not eligible the following semester.
Do we have any instances this past year with that?
We had one.
How
No, we had
how
two.
many?
We had two
Out of how many?
out of
How many classes?
28.
That's 28 students or 28 classes?
28 students,
If someone took multiple classes?
yes.
Okay.
So this year we have enrolled 39 students, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me get an understanding. Are you telling me this $25,000 is for how many seniors?
This year it will be 12 seniors, 12 or
We
13.
paying for do they pay any, or are we paying it all?
They are paying some this fall semester because we weren't aware of how much money we were gonna be eligible for. But then in the spring, I pick it back up and I can pay for all of it in the spring.
Any other questions about that?
Is this during school hours?
It's, their classes are from 7:30 to 8:50, Monday through Thursday, depending on what class they take. Either Monday, Wednesdays, or Tuesday, Thursdays.
And when you say they're supposed to pay for some of it, we're talking pretty minute amount that the students.
It can range anywhere from 200, if they take 2 classes, it can go up to at least $500, $600. It depends on the course that they take per semester.
Talk to any parents in, student to a state school at this time, that's a bargain.
It is very much a bargain. And it's good because they can graduate with 24 college hours by the time they're seniors, and so
Right.
that's awesome.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, on over to page 31 of 53. And you'll see the highlight of the legal services. I just wanted to point out we went down, because we discussed that last week. We had budgeted last year 80 and we're down to 40.
We have those two big hammers that were on our head beginning of last year. They're no longer there. Our district has prevailed in both of those, and so we're back in a decent shape. We're hoping we don't even spend that amount this year on legal fees.
That is great.
Yes, it is.
The college fund for next year.
It is, absolutely.
I'd rather educate students in college than pay for lawyers.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
And then over on page 34 of 53, again, I just wanted to point out about the vocational that we're, and I want to show you, you see the 121, and I really honestly do not think that will be spent, because if you'll look at 2015, 2016, we had to bring a budget amendment to y'all back then for 41,431 that we actually spent. And then so far, I had to bring another budget amendment to you for 16, 17 to spend 40,000 to stay in compliance. But with our template, the way it says, I needed to add this much more to stay in compliance, but I just don't feel, the last 2 years, the trend's been 40-something, so I just don't think we will spend that, but I
You can
wanted.
spend less than 121 with pen lines anyway.
No, we will stay in compliance, whatever the template, and usually we look back in it about February or March, and we rerun it, and we relook at the special programs to make sure all of them are in compliance. If they're not, then we start looking around to figure what we gotta do.
Remember a couple years ago, we built our painting bid, stuff like that, in order to stay in compliance with some funds that we had to spend. We're looking at something like that if we need.
So do whatever we need to do. And then on page 35 of 53, we added some things for the technology. We fixed that there's that Chase Network Services. The guy comes in and helps us about once a week to help us get up running and going faster what we can to help, Mr. Charlie out. And then you see the Microsoft licensing for $12,000 and the other license for $5,000. That's going to be annual. We have to stay in compliance with technology, and so you got to pay for the license. So I wanted to point that out, that we've added a few things for technology. And then on the next page, 36 of 53, that is the total amount of your M&O. You've got the 430,013 that's going to be used out of fund balance to add it to your 12,241,56 for your revenue, which is total of your expenditures of 12,670,169, makes it a balanced budget for your 199.
That's pretty good. Good work.
Thank you. The next page is your title of 211. So I want you to flip on over to 39 and 53, because I told y'all last week that I would try to have the grants in here for you. So your Title 1, we're looking at $654,183 for title. Then you're going to flip on over and you're going to see your special ed IDB formula. Look to page 41 and 53. At the bottom, you see 345, 230. Then the next page, 42 of 53, you're going to see special ed Idea B preschool. You're looking at 8,471 for it. The next page is your cafeteria, so you want to go on over to 44 of 53. And our cafeteria food service, we're looking at $1,093,923. Then the next page is your Paul Perkins, right at the bottom of 45 of 53, you see 20,326. And then page 46 of 53, that starts your tips. And this year we're going to go over to page 48 of 53. And at the bottom you'll see that the revenues of 48 of 53, you'll see it says $2,021,355. Again, this is year 1 and 2. It's a total grant of $4 million, but this is year 1 and 2. And then you'll see your expenditures of $1,981,355. You see the $40,000 at the bottom. That's indirect cost, is what that is. So what we get to do is we get to take some of the expenditures that we spend over in administration, and we get to move them over here. And the grant's going to help pay for some of that because it's called indirect cost.
That 1.9 million is for 2 years?
This is
Correct.
only for 2 years, but it's total of $2,021,355. That's your total, because if you add the 40 to the $1,981,000, you get the 2. And then the next page is your reading grant, Fund 289. Go over to page 51 of 53. You're going to see the revenues of $420,427. And then the expenditures, $358,873, but again, it also has a indirect cost, so of $61,554. So that's money that we get to move over and spend. Your next page is your debt service, your $599. You'll look at this is page 52 of 53. It's $867,925. That's your debt service to pay the bond. So now on page 53 of 53, you're going to see your fund balance of $430,013. You're going to see the revenue of $17,671,996 together. Those are $18,102,009. Your expenditures and then this is all. This is your grants, your INS, your 240. This is everything I just showed y'all. You're going to see expenditure of $18 million.
Hang on just a second, Gail. If you add the 101,000 to the 18,455, that's where you get the numbers you just mentioned, 18,102.
Yeah, if you do the 430 and the 17, you get the 18, and then when you add the 18 with the 101, you're going to get the 18,102. It's a balanced budget. You've got to add 18,455. That is your expenditures. And then you add the 101,554 to that 18,455, and you should get 18,102,009. The same as what that revenue is. The 430 added to the 17 million should be at 18,102,009. And that is your budget. Now, when y'all go to approve the budget on the line item, you're going to approve that tab that you see back there in the back that says approved budget, the very back of your page. And you're only approving your $199, your $240, and your $599 at the very back that says approved. But that's the old one that we went over last week, Mr. Cochran. So you're going to have the page 1 is your $199, page 2 of 3 is your food service, and page 3 of 3 is your INS. That's what you'll be proving, because we're keeping it within the functions. But I wanted to show y'all the details of what was among those amounts.
So the total amount that they're going to approve tonight would be 14,632,017, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For those 3 functions, remember by the PEA rule, there's 3 functions of these 3 areas of the 3 that the board actually approves. The rest of them is flow through, or what do you call it, Bill? Flush.
Flush,
Calls
the
it
grant for
accounts,
flush.
they flow through. But nonetheless, folks don't realize, you know, of us sitting here at $14 million in a regular budget, and our entire budget is $18 million, how heavily grant funded this district is. We're about nearly $3.5 million a year in grants that this district even just flows through. So that's a pretty big chunk, and thank God for it, because our kiddos would certainly not have some of the resources and some of the services that they have without it.
By the same token, we could not have received those grants had we not been eligible and needy of them and met the qualifications. That's what the
Correct.
grants were exactly for, and those grants are addressing some of our issues.
Correct.
Needs.
Is there any questions?
Any questions y'all have specifically for Gail here? She's done a good job putting all this together, and puts in lots of extra hours. And, you know, her hardest job is explaining it to me, though. You know, she has to come in, she goes, hey. She probably goes back shaking her head, going, does he understand? But the bottom line of the situation is she does a great job.
Thank you.
Keeping us floated here, we have Mr. Johnny Zolman now, part of the money is here, actually contract with Mr. Zolman, who is a TEA finance specialist here in the area. He used to work for Region 6, now he works part-time for Love Lady and has this business on the side. So we, in fact, all the districts in Houston County contract with him to help us with projections and budget and everything. Great help to Gail, great help to me, because every time we sit him down here, he teaches me something about this budget. And he sees things in this budget because he deals with it all the time and keeps me out of the doghouse. You know, one of the things that he saw immediately this year was the $700,000 decrease in revenue, which I brought to you immediately when I heard about it, because that was something that hadn't dawned on me because of this big jump, because we're 2 years behind. And sometimes even knowing we operate 2 years behind, when that jump is 2 years behind you, you forget that it's there. And the same thing will be true in the future. Now that we're falling a little bit, then we'll get some of that money back, and he'll be able to see that and tell us that we're going to get that money back. Gail, is there anything else you want to say about Mr. Zolman?
No, I'm really excited about having him on board, because it's just an extra pair of eyes to look, because when you look at something every day, all day, you miss it. And it's just really good to have him to bounce off of and talk with, so it's exciting.
Gail, every year you do a great job.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you. We really do.
Thank you.
This program is brought to you by Young's Welding. For truck accessories, gateways, and all your welding needs, be sure to call Young's Welding at 936-544-7432. And the Moosehead Cafe, open Monday through Saturday for breakfast and lunch, and Friday nights for the fried catfish special dinner. Call 936-544-5278.